The issue of independence or being controlled from elsewhere except amongst us, it's been a lie all along. And it can be a little bit shameful that I'm realizing that for the first time at my age, going to 90. The leaders are the agents of people who are not even here, and they are controlling us by proxy. The idea of democracy and what it takes is a fluke and subterfuge. I've told you, we call them our leaders, but they are their agents. If we want to join them, even at my age, they will reserve special place for me in the highest places because they will defer to me. I know all of them. If I don't know the people there, and I know their fathers, our youth, you can't blame them. You can't blame them because the pit they are finding themselves now have been dug for them centuries ago. How can anybody tell me that the distance between Lagos and Ibadan, less than 150 kilometers, is taking 20 years to construct? At my age of going to 90, I've been hearing of NEPA, development, rearrangement, reconstruction for the past 50 years.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the 91 podcast. Today's episode is a truly special one. I have the honor of having a conversation with Mr. Adeniyi A. Adebisi. He's an 87-year-old elder statesman, former business leader, and now the author of the newly released book, Africa's Underdevelopment, the Nigerian Predicament, a compendium of problems, solutions, and a way forward. In a time when many voices analyze Nigeria's challenges from academic or journalistic angles, Mr. Adebisi brings something far more rare: lived experience. He has witnessed firsthand the full 66-year journey of Nigeria as an independent nation. In his book, he moves beyond surface-level political commentary to confront something far more unsettling: a centuries-long pattern of exploitation. He describes how what began as external domination evolved into a modern-day pact, a system where former colonial powers and carefully selected local intermediaries shaped governance from behind the scenes. This is not just a conversation about history. It's about understanding the roots of present-day realities and, more importantly, exploring pathways forward. Before we dive in, I have to give a special shout out to RØDE for powering and supporting this podcast. From microphones to mic stands, XLR cables, the Rodecaster Pro 2, pop filters, HDMI cables, and even the mixers, the Rodecaster Video S and Core. Your support has helped us bring conversations like this to life with clarity and quality. So sit back, tune in, and get ready for a deeply impactful conversation with Mr. Adeniyi A. Adebisi. Welcome, Mr. Adeniyi. It's great to have you here on our podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here too.
So tell me, sir, how is Nigeria treating you?
Well, I've gotten to a stage now. I don't think I really mind which way again. But altogether, we are still alive. We are existing.
So you've lived through Nigeria's entire post-independent history. What is the biggest lie that you believe Nigerians have been told?
I can't think of anyone straight away. But the issue of independence or being controlled from elsewhere except amongst us, it's been a lie all along. And it can be a little bit shameful that I'm realizing that for the first time at my age, going to 90.
You mentioned that we're being controlled from somewhere else. What do you mean by that, sir?
Locally, we have our leaders, but on second thought, looking deeper, it's very sad to now know that the leaders are the agents of people who are not even here, and they are controlling us by proxy. For example, the colonialists.
Sir, I thought we were a democratic nation, meaning that our leaders are voted in. So are you saying that even though we're voting in these leaders, we're not actually, that's basically a lie?
The idea of democracy and what it takes is a fluke and subterfuge. It's just a smooth screen. They are just using all these things to cover up. For example, for years, for decades, even when the colonialists were here, there was no election that was not rigged. They've always been doing things to put whoever they want to put, who generally will be their agent and serve their interests, usually against the interests of the people they claim to be ruling.
Would you say that is the same thing that's happening right now, even with our current leader?
Yes, I said it. Even from the colonial period, after a make-believe election, by the time they send it to Westminster, if they don't like what the name brings out, they simply send it back. Go and get another person for us. And that's what has been happening. And it's still happening up to today. Nobody can stand up in Nigeria and say a particular election is free. They have a way of doing things to bring out somebody they need, who will do what they want him or her to do.
Wow, that's very unsettling.
Like I said earlier, it's very embarrassing and very shameful that I will get to this level and age before I'm seeing this thing clearly like this. It's not open to everybody. Even some of the participants are not aware that that is what is happening.
But who is the real hand behind this? Would you say it's our colonial masters, meaning Britain, or the Western world in general, that's doing this to us or that's controlling us?
I will say it with all confidence that when the colonialists set in, they saw what they saw and they thought they would never leave Africa alone, not only Nigeria. What is happening in Nigeria is what we will see all over Africa and some other underdeveloped parts of the world. It's the colonialists. And they are in league with those people who started the slave trade right from towards the end of the 19th century. They are still taking anything they want now without anybody to ask them.
So, sir, you said it took you, well, until now for you to find this out. So, what broke this ruse for you? What made this whole thing unravel for you? How did you find out?
It's very simple. If honestly you believe what you are being told, you want to see these things play out. And by the time you expect that what you want to play out is not playing out, then you review. What's happening? Somebody is asking you to expect red, and you wait. After waiting, you don't see red. You keep on seeing blue. What do? Then you start trying to rearrange your thoughts and start seeing things in a different way.
What you're saying, sir, Nigeria has never been an independent nation then?
Nigeria has never been an independent state. And it's not Nigeria alone. In the context of Africa, Africa as a continent has never been independent. And those who made efforts, one way or the other, they will do it until they exterminate them. Look at the history of Africa. All the top good leaders we had, they end up being killed by the Western world agents.
So, what are the real mechanisms, behind this control that you're talking about? Is it economics? Is it politics? Is it religion? Or is it something deeper?
It's deeper. It's deeper. Deeper in the sense that way back 19th century, the Europeans, including United Kingdom, even before the United States of America came to Africa, and what they saw amazed them. We were by far above them in so many aspects of life. And they made conscious efforts. What can we do to break the stand of these people? And they resolved that we have to change the way they think. In fact, a particular parliamentarian reported to the parliament that he had been to several places in Africa. He didn't see a single beggar. That was around 1835. And he didn't see any thief. So, what are we going to do if we are going to Africa? We have to, because ethically, morally, we are by far superior to them. Then they now say, this is very surprising. And because we are endowed with so many resources which they needed and they didn't have and they could not get up to today. So they resolved and started making strategies how they are going to change the way we are thinking. Gave us phony system of education that will make us think that Oyibo is better than black. And any noise we are making now, they started this since that time. I mean it. Way back 1835 when that research was carried out. And they are still implementing it up to today.
Wow. But, sir, what you're saying is different from what many people have been saying over the years. Many people, whenever you speak up about Africa and maybe, we're being controlled or something, many people would always say that when the white man came to Nigeria, the white man gave us houses. The white man stopped us from living like savages. The white man gave us education. The white man gave us healthcare. But what you're saying is different from that.
Yes, you are right. That was the propaganda. And the propaganda is still going on now. And the most regrettable aspect of this is that the propaganda is catching up very, very fast and deeply among our youths. That's what they believe. But it was a deliberate thing just to pull you down so that you can see them in the form they are not. I don't think it's just mere propaganda. Or what they did, I will give you one or two examples. When the colonialists started building railways and doing ports, they were doing it to move their goods from Nigeria to their place. And when they brought education through the missionaries, they were only teaching people how to read and write to facilitate their own administration. So when you look at everything in this way, you will find that it's just a lie they are spreading and propaganda. Right now, if you go to the universities, what do you see? People go to the university, they come back, and you can't bring them to think in original way. Everything on the surface. I think that's the way it is. Anybody can see it in any other way. They want to claim that they brought civilization to us. What civilization? We were by far more superior to them.
Why do you think a Nigeria where there was honesty and there was morality has now transformed into a Nigeria that is one of the most corrupt countries of today?
When the white people started coming to Africa and Nigeria, that's one of the vices they brought. In fact, 90% of what we call vices amongst the blacks and Africa today, they were brought by the whites when they start coming in to carry us as slaves. It's their vice. It's not African vice. Stealing, lying, corruption, everything. And it's what they are still practicing among themselves up to now. So it's not a very spectacular thing. When you come close to them, you will see. I work with them.
But sir, if what you're saying is true, then why is it that right now, the Western nations are not seen as as corrupt as we are today? If it's their own vice, shouldn't they be corrupt countries right now in comparison to Nigeria?
Yes, that's a very big one. Who is seeing them as not corrupt? Is the idea they are selling out. But if you have any opportunity to come close to them, you will see the level of their corruption by far higher than what they are complaining about. They just want people to understand and believe what they are saying about blacks and Africa and Nigeria. Their own is worse. That's just the way I can put it.
Sir, can you give me an example of this? Just so, because obviously from the propaganda I've grown up on, I find it hard to accept something like this, even though I know you're saying it based on your experience. But sir, can you give me an example to help bring what you're saying to life, of a time when they have been corrupt or how they are covering the corruption?
Let me bring out something more extensive and expansive.
Thank you, sir.
Their governments. Right now, UK and the West generally, they want to pride themselves as a democratic country. But what is democratic about them? Take Britain, for example. It's still under monarchy. And under the monarchy, you have the House of Lords. Even the number of people in the House of Lords, almost more than the elected representatives in the House of Commons. Just reflect on that scenario for a minute. What is democratic about it? They keep on putting forward what they are not. I don't see any level of corruption that can be worse than that. With that type of arrangement, they keep on doing whatever they want to do. Some years back, which I can still remember, and some people that are talking now might still be young, there was a time his son, I don't know whether this one can put me into trouble, a son of Margaret Thatcher was involved in coup in Central Africa.
Margaret
And by the time he escaped, nothing was heard about it again. One would have thought that with their so-called justice, equality, they will follow it and try. Any member of the royal family can never do anything wrong. What will you say about that? And
I've never heard about that before.
Yes, I mean, the way I'm looking at you now, I think I will be free to say you are relatively a younger person. But those of us, we have seen a lot. And when you work very closely to them, I remember I was once an airline executive in British Caledonian Airways. And I had them as my boss. And they would say certain things that would be surprised that it could come from somebody you call your boss. So at a very close range like that, I think I have that privilege of knowing things about them that many people don't know. They are talking of lobbying, for example. What is lobbying? What we are calling of our members in the House, the parliamentarians, they are corrupt. What do you say about the system of lobbying government to do what they want to do? Years back, when the issue of slave trade started, it started with individuals going out of their way to find out they are going to make money. Before you know what was happening, the royalties, the members of the royal family got involved with them. You talk of George Goldie, you talk of Frederick Lugard. They started as individuals. They started first with operating slavery and their other trades in the East. And Nigeria we are talking about today started from the east, and the headquarters was Lokoja.
Hmm.
After a while, they charter, like you are trying to convert your ordinary company to limited liability company. They charter that company. But when aggressions, hostility started coming from the Germans, the French, and everything, they now started looking for support from the government. I mean, the British government. At a point when it was becoming too much, the British government had to take over the space called Nigeria from them, and they sold their interests for £860,000. That's Nigeria we are calling today. So anything that will bring money in accordance with what they've been told, that you can go and get whatever suits you, that way, that's the only way you can get money. And the government must look the other way, because controlling people individually, meaning controlling their, what do I call it now, their prosperity. Because it's when the citizens are rich that the nation too can be rich. But in minute details, I might not be able to tell you. Now, coming back home, all these billions they are stealing from Nigeria, where are they taking them to? Do you think any system that is not corrupt will be getting this type of money? And they will still be calling the people corrupt. Almost, I will tell you, more than 50% of the cash resources of Nigeria are stashed away in all these Western countries.
Wow.
What other evidence do you want for corruption? That's a very good case. And it's still happening up to now. When they steal money here, their first place of call is over there. What is the system that is accepting it? What is the system that is accepting it and is not complaining? And it's in order. In the book, which we are talking about now, I made a remark that they are using corruption to run the country. Is that not absurd? Because anything, even up to this minute we are talking, money, 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 money. If you make noise more than necessary, they are looking for you. Take money, take money, take money. So, definitely, the corruption is from them, and they are still there. I read history too, to advanced level. There was a case back in the Middle Ages. A very influential man, they call them landowners, was having 3 daughters. Manchester was having 3 daughters. And the government of the day knew that they would need to get his support. And they approached him. We want you to support our party. That time they practiced Whig and Tory. They said, well, what do you have to give me? They said, tell us anything you want. And the big man said, well, I want my 3 daughters to be officers in the British Army. They said, my children to be officers in the military. They said, but we don't know you have male children now. They said, I have 3 daughters. Why not? They were commissioned as officers, and these people were officers, and they never show up for work for one day. That was from where they started. It's their home. Corruption is their home. They brought it to Africa. Anybody likes, you believe it. If you don't like, don't believe it.
This example you just gave me, is this a real life scenario?
If you care, I'm talking of Middle Ages, even before they started coming to Africa.
Wow.
There are so many things about them. And when you talk about ruthlessness, with due respect, all these chieftains were fighting easily and as if we are joking. A member of the family can kill all members of the family because he wanted to be a king.
Yes, they used to do that.
I won't mention a particular country because that one will be too, too much for me. But things are so bad with them. I think it's survival thing. It's survival issue. When you want to survive, you don't know again what is good, what is not good.
Yes.
I've been to several parts of Europe, UK, and America. If you study them very well, and I'm challenging you, what do they have? Their entire existence is in Africa.
Yes.
And whoever is asking them not to keep Africa down again is asking them to go and die, to fall out of extinction. And that's why the problem is like this. But for our people to keep on pretending that they don't know, that is the tragedy of it. And that is the predicament we have in Nigeria and Africa.
So do you think is that we are pretending we don't know, or maybe our minds cannot just, maybe our minds can't fathom what you're saying? I think that's the thing. Our minds have been controlled to the point that we can't think differently, because these people that you're explaining are the same people that we see as those that brought us Christianity, those that brought us God, those that came and were missionaries, helping us stop the killing of twin babies, this, that. So I don't think people can merge those two identities together. I don't think it's possible.
It will start from somewhere. It will start from somewhere. Like we started in this program. I'm approaching my 90.
Wow.
How come that is now, I'm now realizing that some of the things we were made to believe were false. Any religion, including our local religion, are tools of enslavement.
Wow.
Many people, how will people believe this? But they themselves that are promoting the religion, call it Islamic religion, call it Christianity, call it Babalawo locally, they work hand in hand with people in power. When you see one supports the other. And that's the way it is.
Sir, can you explain that a bit deeper?
Religion is just a tool. It's just a tool of enslavement. And there is no way anybody can prove it otherwise. And I've done my studies to that extent.
Sir, can you explain that a bit deeper, how these religions like Christianity or Islam are tools of enslavement?
Okay. Let me start from the beginning. During the Roman Empire, Rome was the superpower in those days. And Christianity was just being discussed hush hush in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Even the Bible could not be brought out because the content was against the government of the day. So there was an emperor who came one time and wait for this one, and adopted it as the religion of the state. And Rome, being the superpower of that time, decided to spread it. In the course of spreading it, of course, they changed so many things there to suit their purpose. And the same thing, Islamic religion is just a tool devised to deceive people to get certain things which the cabal of that time wants so badly. Anybody that is saying anything different from this, I will want to be challenged. They know. Even the people propagating it. The last time I went to UK, all the big cathedrals, nobody was attending again. Can you tell me why? Because people are getting wiser. A cathedral that will take about 100,000 congregation. If you are talking from London, for example, go to London, you will probably see about 50 to 80 plugging together in one corner of that big, huge establishment.
That's true.
Building. You say it's true?
Yes.
That's what it is. People are now getting wiser. I was in Germany some years back. I was at the reception, and I saw some Nigerians dressed together with the wife and came to the reception. Can you tell us where the nearest church is now? Then the receptionist just looked up and said, church? I don't know. If you look very well, they are not even, nobody's caring about Christianity or Islamic this thing again. It's those old cabals that are still very much interested in pushing their objective, that are still using whatever method they can use to deceive people. Because right from the word go, there is something in it for anybody. They use Christianity to hold us. I will tell you something about Frederick Lugard. After conquering the whole of Nigeria, the north, the east, and the west, he now noticed that in the north, the Islamic jihad had pushed down south, and he couldn't challenge them because he had made a deal with them. What he did next was to make arrangement, because he came from religious family in India. The family of Lugard was based in India. They started bringing in people from all over the place and supporting the spread of Christianity in the south. If I tell you all these mega churches we are having, they were more or less planted just to counterbalance the influence of the religion from the north, which they are driving with by jihad. What do you want to say about that?
But
So religion is a tool they are using to, if you like, you can say brainwash people. And again, let me tell you this. If you look at the way the preaching goes, they want to simplify everything for you. Instead of work hard, they will say, just have your belief in God. Believe in Christ. If you are giving people option, instead of suffering in the bush, and you are now saying, read your Bible, you'll be okay, this is this. But that is the strategy. Any religion will preach that. Something that is tough, they will say, all what you need to do is to believe in God, believe in Allah. Allah will do everything. And at the bottom of the population, you have this religion. How many multimillionaire, billionaire you see crushing to Bible every Sunday going to church? Or how many, unless they want to say, we will give you thousands to develop this, we will give you this to do that. But at the bottom, where people can make noise, they have succeeded in making them to be silent. And to be fair to them, it's not Christianity or Islam alone. Even at our own local religion, is instruments of holding people down.
Control.
You can't go what Babalawo said. The Fa said this, and you cannot be king because of this. First of all, they are working in cohorts. Whoever is the king, the next person to him is the head of Babalawo of that place. And the whole thing is so arranged that one cannot do with the other. The same thing Christianity. If you read Nigerian Constitution, they say we are secular. What is responsible for all these things? They are this elaborate religious thing we are witnessing. Can anybody explain that? Because they know they can't be too far from religion, and religion too cannot be too far. If we invite the GO of a big church now, something like millions will go forward first before it will come. And the religious people and the government, they dare not quarrel. They dare not disagree. Where they disagree, then you see the SARS are coming. They must agree. So religion is not what it is. It is just tool in the hand of people who are hiding somewhere, We call them cabal. And they want things to go their way from any angle.
Sir, you don't sound like the type of person that would want to say let's pray for Nigeria. From what you're saying.
I don't know whether your question will cover that. There is nothing like a pray for Nigeria. I have a philosophy. The philosophy, every individual comes to this world with a blank sheet of paper. Write anything you like there, that's what you are going to be. And all these nations that are doing whatever they are doing is intentional. By the people controlling them, the cabals. It's what they want, they are getting. See what is going on between America, Israel, and Iran. They know what they are fighting for. But how many people can say what they are fighting for? That's the way it works. The idea of anybody praying for anybody is just deceit. They know that they cannot use their prayer to do anything. But if a group of people, even as few as 3 or 5, gather together today and chart a course over the period, you will see that course materializing. But what these people do first is to make sure that we don't have any intention of our own. That's what religion is about. God will do everything. God will do everything. It's simple. Nobody is giving you any task. So they rope so many people into that, both educated and uneducated, including professors.
Well,
so
sir,
I'm not going to pray. I'm not, going to pray for Nigeria. I want people who will dream and know exactly what they want. And they will continue to bring to themselves those they can work together with.
You mentioned the cabal several times. Who's the cabal? Is it the West? Do you know who's that cabal?
The cabal, there is a very long history defining cabal. Even the cabal itself, they are initials of some top government officials in Britain of those days. Now, what happens is that if you talk of England, whatever those 5 people decide is what England will do. And it exists everywhere. Even in an organization, you will have 2 or 3 people out of thousands in whatever direction they want that company to go. That's the direction it will go. So when we are talking of cabal, we are talking of people who are the people who are making things to happen in what direction.
Yeah.
And anything, they have the habit of staying behind. You don't see them in the newspapers. They don't grant interviews. But they are very busy going about recruiting people they can be using to achieve the purpose they are fashioned out for themselves.
Sir,
it's everywhere.
Okay. Sir, do you think our leaders know that they are being used or controlled? Because what kind of person will let themselves be controlled against the prosperity of their own nation?
That's a very good question. I used to worry myself. What happens is that these cabal, they are very few, and at times, they don't even know who put them there. So in the same way, when they go about their recruitment, in most cases, that's to be fair to the people we are talking about, and that is our leaders. They just scout and look for who they can use. A number of times, 90%, 99% of cases, you are already in the group before you know that you are being used. And God helps you. If at that point, you say you cannot go again and they leave you alone, even when you are killed, nobody knows who kills you. So the cabal are, let me put it this way, controlling force. There are so many lies flying over the place. because that's what the cabal, they want people to hear. Even where you have ways of knowing that it's a lie, their own influence will overwhelm your own. Nobody will listen to you. As I'm talking to you, thank God I've not gone too far. I've escaped a number of their invitations. They are ready to. And one important thing is that when they want to use you, they know exactly what they want to use you for. And they know that you are undeserving of that position. Because if you find yourself deserving, at a point, they will say, do like this. You will say, no, I can't do it like that. Look at our professors in the university. They just want to use it to boost their program. They want to boost themselves. The moment they bring you in, so person is a good economics, they will go and bring that one. By the time you will come, you will say, I think the economy of the country is like this. This is the way I'm advising it should go. They will just ignore it. Find a way of doing it like this. And that's what their masters have dictated to them. It's a very deep and serious matter.
From what you're saying, sir, I thought it was just politicians that were being controlled. But from the example you just gave, it sounds like other people, like even lecturers in university or maybe even doctors, are being controlled. Is it just the politicians, or does the control go down to other layers?
It's all over the place. They are looking for people to use to achieve a particular purpose. They will see you, find you useful to deliver that objective. You may not know. And usually, you yourself will not know. And by the time you know, it might be too late. The area I'm trying to emphasize is that the position they will give you, you will be undeserving of that position. And that's their trump card against you. Because the moment you want to show that you are wiser than they say, well, look at this one. What are you trying to do? We just brought you here and you want to show that you are wise. I will give you one example now. In 2023, when electioneering was going on, I was approached by people I barely knew. Baba, they like you in this area. We are mobilizing for our candidates. I don't want to mention any candidate now. If you don't mind, we can give you like 20 million just to be calling meetings, people to be holding meetings with you and so on and so forth. Sit with anybody, even my children, I didn't discuss with them. Immediately, I got the gist. I said, I'm sorry, you don't know the person you are talking to. If you can bring your candidates here to come and talk to me, because I know all of them, or you will take me to your candidate after 1 minute, like Yoruba will say, Oma Dobalen, because they don't want to confront anybody that could see through whatever they are putting together. That's a very good example.
Yes,
all of a sudden, you will just see me spending money, calling people, and before you know what is happening, they are lining up for me at a railway crossing, with their money. So what much do I have to say to tell them that they are doing anything wrong, or I am wiser than whatever they are asking me to do? That's a very good example.
But is there any way that somebody who's not being controlled can go into a position of power and make a change? Or is everybody in position of power controlled, whether the opposition or another party or something?
Because of my extent of reading, I know the change is possible. But it's not going to be something you have to do by violence, or you want to do because you can make noise. These people didn't put us in their net by making noise, although they were hiding gun behind. Although they are hiding gun when they started streaming in around in the mid 19th century. But they didn't rely on that. So if we want any change, it's going to be through one mastermind who will look at the whole thing and put ideas together and formulate an agenda that even for the next 50 years, nobody will suspect. And it's possible, even though it might look, but if you say you want to make noise, this, you can't do that and succeed. For how long? I can tell you straight away, well-known leaders in Africa, they came with that mind and they thought that why not? I know that they are cheating us and they don't want us to progress. Talk of Nkrumah, talk of Gaddafi, talk of all these other big names in Africa. They find a way of eliminating them. But somebody who will effect this change must be somebody who can get a small group together, and that small group will keep on working. I'm not even talking of 5 years. I'm not talking of 10 years. Maybe for the next 50 years, because it took them hundreds of years before they got to this stage. You are now saying, what is happening to us? So if we want to upset, if we want to topple it, who is saying that we can do it overnight? But with education, it may not be as long. Because the way we are talking now, very easily, if you address a gathering of about, let us say 500, especially amongst the educated ones, 2 can leave that gathering with strong mind, strong determination to effect a change. But not say I'm NGO, I'm this. Most of the NGOs, they incorporated them into oppressing their kith and kins. What are they doing? They finance them. And that's why when you see them, apart from the backing, how fast can they go? If you follow them closely, in whatever cause they claim to be promoting.
Sir, do you think that Nigeria would have succeeded or become great if Western powers had not interfered? Do you think we would have developed? We would have become...
It is very difficult to comment because the first chapter of this book brought to light what Nigeria was before the Europeans started coming. There was nothing like Nigeria. Everybody just existed in small units, family units, community units, and they were firmly in control of the environment. And in the south, where you have empires, the empires were too far removed from ordinary people. They only control the earth. Like you talk of Oyo Empire, for example. The Oyo Empire is there, but will not come and interfere with what a little community is doing. It's only when they have war or something that is threatening the generality, you see them now going through the head of the small units to do something to face that. So talking of Nigeria the way we are talking of Nigeria now definitely did not exist. Nothing like Nigeria. Even when you are talking of Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba
tribes,
this one will surprise you. There is nothing like Yoruba. Nothing. It's just an occurrence. Up to this minute I'm talking to you, if you go down to the villages, if you call an elderly Ekiti man Yoruba, he will cut your neck with cutlass because you are insulting him. We have Ijesha, we have Ekiti, we have Ondo, we have Ikale. That's the way we existed. And for anybody to be talking of will Nigeria have been like this, no, it doesn't work. It's not even applicable at all.
Sir, some may question and say that, okay, if the West only wanted to make money off us and everything, why did they stop slavery? Or why did they give us our independence? Do you have any answer to that?
Yes. When you say the West wanting to make money off us, I said earlier on, the West, up to this minute we are talking, the environment is very harsh. They are not comfortable people. It's only Africa that we can take it to Garden of Eden. Just move and take anything you like. And they are very, very envious of that situation. For them to survive at the level we are seeing them now is because they are resting on Africa. There is no other way of looking at it. All the natural resources. Because if you remove national resources, what is left of them? They will now fall back to their technology. And this technology, even with our people going abroad, we are even doing better than they are doing. So the way you have put it, it's not exactly like that, making money off us. No. And the slavery, there were issues, circumstances that made them to stop slavery. Some early blacks, like William Wilberforce in Britain, they called the attention of the authorities that time to the morality involved, especially with the Bible you are carrying about. How do you reconcile taking another person as slave and you are carrying Bible that God is try to be holy? But so many other things came together to play out. They just realized that, okay, like Britain, for example, if we don't make it frontally like this, we could make it indirectly. And that's why you now get what people refer to as indirect rule or ruling by proxy. That slavery we are saying we were independent from is what is still continuing now by proxy or by indirect rule. And if you ask me further, I will tell you how this is happening.
Oh, sir, please do, if you can explain that further.
You see, when they say they abolished slavery, what they did was to make sure that they recruit small group of us, blacks, to talk to our fellow blacks. Because they did research and find out that it's by far easier for we to talk to ourselves. Even though we might not, all what we see is that, Dayo ló ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ now. It's Dayo that is talking to me. It's my son. We don't see beyond that. And many people will not see beyond that. But what is the power behind what Dayo is saying? And that's why we are in this problem we are in. All the people that we have now, I said it earlier on, and we are calling our leaders, they are the very agents these people who claim to abolish slavery are still using to take what normally they have been taking. That's why I refer to them as intermediaries. They are using it as going between. And that's why when a fellow black man, a president of a black nation, and is doing something exactly different from what the people want, you can now see through. The program is not his, the agenda is not his. Everything belongs to the people who are setting him forth to go and control his people.
So, like, I just remembered, I saw a young person wrote something online saying that, who cares if the West are after our resources, as long as they come to Nigeria, let them come to Nigeria, let us save us from, the terrorist attacks, the killings of Christians that are going on, that they don't care what they want to take from us. Let them take whatever they want to take as long as they save us. What do you think about this sort of mentality in the young people of Nigeria today?
It only indicates the level our youth have, the level they have gone down to. Ordinarily, they don't understand anything because the system over the years have brainwashed them. He's talking of Christianity. That very person who wrote that, what does he know about Christianity? I will tell you, all these big churches we have in Nigeria, call them any name. I won't mention any name myself. Call them any name. At a point, they were funded by government just to make sure that the influence of the jihadists are counterbalanced. Who will believe that? There is another one I will not mention. I'm talking of mid-80s, from 80 to mid-80s. All these biblical churches, they sprang up that period. I want you to challenge me. Go and do your research. Between 1980 and 1985, and a little bit beyond, they were deliberately boosted by government influence so that they will not fall for the strength and the desperation that is coming with the jihadists. Because after the independence, the jihadists, they wanted to start from where they left off, around towards the end of 19th century. And so that they will not do that, Frederick Lugard started early 20th century to be reinforcing the skeletal Christian we have to become big. You know, even these little challenges we are having, if that had not been done, by now, Nigeria would have been overrun to the Atlantic Ocean. So it was a deliberate thing. They don't believe in Christianity or Islamic religion. All what they want is, we want this space. What tool can we use? And who are the people that will be leveraging on the tools? So you will see, not only among young people, even some older people, some people in authorities, even many ministers, they can't define their role because they were just brought into it. I was a politician at a point in time, and I saw how the inner working goes. Maybe you want to know how that work came about.
Yes, please, tell me.
You know, when the late Abacha died, there was this Abdul Salam. Abdul Salam pretended to put some papers together and call it constitution. And during the time of Babangida, they put certain things together. They say NRC and SDP. That was the one Abiola won. But because at a point in time, they had reason to suspect, will this person listen to us if he becomes a president? And already, Abiola and Babangida, they had already reached understanding because Abiola was very close to the military that it would be. But the Cabal, located in the Caliphate in Sokoto, they didn't trust Abiola. And they simply instructed military governor that time, he calls himself president, military president, Babangida, don't swear in that person. And he couldn't. So I belonged to NRC that time. I was not a politician, but at the time of registering, it was very close to my house. I just entered the booth. And they followed me to the house. You came to register, so. Those are politicians. That's what they do. we will be very happy to come and you'll be the secretary of the world. Because they have sized up everything. I agreed. By the time they wanted to do that election, it was me and my family that voted for Tofa in our booth because they knew if they threw money at me, they were very sure that I will not be moved. And they avoided me completely. Secretary of a ward. That's the way it works. And it's very difficult to believe.
Sir, from what you're saying, is there actually any hope for Nigeria? Because it sounds like everything is so controlled that there's no way out.
Existence is real. As an individual, we want to exist. As a nation, we want to exist. So it's not, I don't think it's reasonable for anybody to say this thing cannot be so or this thing will be so. But people will always fight for existence with the last drop of their blood. And I'm not in position to say Nigeria will not be or Nigeria will be. What I can tell you straight away, the division in the country now is that the West, led by Britain, they consider Nigeria to be their own inheritance. And they will not let it go without a struggle. Now, the North, especially the Fulani, what is uppermost in their mind is to own Nigeria through Islamization. You can see where the true thing comes into it now. You think they are very, very aggressive, passionate about religion, but it's not religion itself. They want to use Islam to subdue the thinking of the people. What you will now see thereafter is Fulanization. So Nigeria will exist, but in what form? The struggle now is, if it's going to survive, it's going to survive for us, that is the British and the West. Then we have opposing thoughts. If you're going to exist, let it be for the expansion and existence of the Fulani as a nation. And as far as the Easterners are concerned, maybe they have seen through all these things. And that's why at the slightest opportunity, they want to remove themselves from the contraption called Nigeria. It's when these things are playing out, that's why it's looking as if, why should things be going on like this? Why things should be going on like this? And the three of them are so strong about what they believe in, what they want to achieve, that I don't see anybody telling them anything different.
Sir, if Britain wants us so badly, it shows that we are of great value. Nigeria is a place of great value. And it makes me think that if we're of such great value to other people, then maybe the youth of today need to recognize who we are and somehow stand up to try and fight off the control, fight off the chains that are being put on us.
Yes, you are very correct. We are of value, not only for their being, but for their very existence. I said it, and I want you to do your own investigation too. All what you see in the West is Africa that is the backbone. And when you look at it from that angle, you are now seeing where Nigeria stands. The way they are standing on Nigeria is the way they are standing on all other African countries. I want to be faulted. It's not Nigeria alone, because what they are now without resources of Africa, they are now being embarrassed. Black people are now going to meet them in their place. And the thought is already occurring to them. Say, what's happening? Eh? They are now scheming how they will send Africans back to Africa in some other in some other African countries. How do you see that? Because the situation is a very. We have not even touched other places like Russia and China. China is overpopulated. Every scheme, every plan, what they want is where they will push their population to. And let anybody not be deceived. These people are mentioning, if they have something that will clear the whole of blacks from Africa and for them to come and occupy, they will do it. It's as bad as that.
I thought they were
The
friends. I
moment,
thought
the
China was a
moment we
friend.
get, you say what?
I thought China was a friend of Nigeria, helping us grow.
They will stretch out something to you. Anywhere China, to see how very obsessed they are. Anywhere China has 2 shops, they will call it China streets. Any place they get it, because they are so obsessed with that, they want us to move out. So if we say we are out of the bondage of the West, we fall into the trap of China, it's going to be worse because they don't share power. China doesn't share power. Anywhere they are, they want to say it's their own. And that one is worse than the one we are facing now.
Sir, are you saying that they would want to bring their people to come and live in Africa?
That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. They will do it.
Wow.
And unless they use the British and the West generally tactics of indirect rule. And China, they are not as smart to use indirect rule. Even in their companies, those who are familiar with their companies, they don't share power. Even if you are a fellow Chinese, your immediate boss treat you like say, who is this boss? But the British and the West, they are very smart in that direction.
Yes, they would
They
smile
can
at you.
pretend. They smile. You
As
know
they're
what
being
we call
wicked.
plastic smile. It's good, it's good. But they mean something else. They are more tolerable that way. But the Chinese, anywhere they step their legs like this, they don't want to see any other person there. So even if we dance to their tune now and invite them by one way or the other, that's what will end it. They will be scheming how they will move us out completely. As far as Russia is concerned, Russia has been on its own. Russia is blessed to an extent. And they have always been using their weather as shield against external aggression. So they are not as bothered as all these other people that have very inclement environment.
So what you're saying, it makes it's starting to make connect different dots in my head. Because somebody once told me that they want Africa without the Africans.
Is that? And that says it all. They want Africa without Africans. That's exactly the picture. Whoever doesn't know that is just fooling himself. So running away from them to go and seek, like I think it's Burkina Faso, trying to do something like that. You might not know to this extent, but that is what is waiting for him. This Traore man.
But with all the money that we've been borrowing from China, like only God knows what could happen next. Could they say you owe us so much money, so we're going to bring our people and put them in one of your lands and just populate the place. It puts us in a very scary situation.
They have been doing that already in some parts of Africa. It's already happening in some parts of Africa, especially in the southeast of Africa. They will give you money to develop your ports on certain conditions. And by the time you are failing in meeting the conditions, they simply take over the control of that port. And that's the standard strategy they are using. If you see a port, you borrow money for them to develop, they will finish it, and they are waiting for you to default. And it's already in the condition anyway, the terms and conditions. Can you imagine what a nation is if the airport is being run by another country? Not only that, the Chinese, they have a way. I think there is another thing they do. I will remember in a moment. When they give you money to develop projects like road projects or anything like that, they bring their people in big number. So one of the benefits of doing that in a community is lost to them. How can anybody, politician or no politician, academician or no academician, will not know that? Even up to laborer on that project will be a Chinese man. And where they cannot readily get one, they will bring their prisoners.
Prisoners.
Prisoners, people who are serving jail terms in their country, to come and even be a driver in the course of educating that project.
But are our leaders not aware of this?
You see, I've told you, we call them our leaders, but they are their agents. Please put that one in your mind. So many things will become very clear to you. They are agents, whether you call them ministers, whether you call them president, you call them anything. They are just agents of the people that are causing our underdevelopment. It's very sad.
It's depressing. Sorry. Everything you said has just made me. It's just, and I'm laughing because I don't know how to react to such.
You can confirm all this is, but people don't know because they are not so close, or they are seeing things they cannot interpret. With the exposure we have, the only difference now is that the exposure we have, instead of joining them, we are using it to challenge ourselves. Say, why? You know? If we want to join them, even at my age, they will reserve special place for me in the highest places, because they will defer to me. Because I know all of them. If I don't know the people there, and I know their fathers. Education, around in the early period, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 in Nigeria, the Fulani, in conjunction with the British, they fashioned out a scheme. They call it HEIR, H-E-I-R, HEIR education. That is, it's only the children of the rulers that could be educated. So, deliberately, the lower ones were disqualified from even doing the celestial education they were bringing that time. The same thing in the South. We used to have family of educated people, family of farmers. If you don't belong, they will find one excuse to edge you out. Either you can't enter now, come back next year. They will just do, they don't care. If they don't, and they now do it through this system we are talking about. Missionaries. They have a way of making it. They will pretend that they are screening, or they are selecting, or they are doing, but what they are really is the child of the clerk in the office, or the permanent secretary, they are reserving the position to. And I have a personal example. After completing my GC advanced level studies, I wanted to do law. Then I went to OAU. When I waited, I didn't get any response. Because I was having the handbook now, I was qualified. Why did they not invite me? So I traveled down to Ile-Ife. What I saw the list of people that were admitted, about 120 in that year. And out of the 120, as many as 40 came from what they describe as pedigree, consisting of their children. Pedigree. These people could not even pass it. Some did not even pass their school start very well. The whole thing started from there. And it's still continuing up to today. So those of us that are supposed to come in by direct admission, they reserve, out of 120, they reserve about maybe about 15 for us. Those of us that didn't know anybody in the town, in the city, nobody, where is your chance to be picked out of that 15 reserved for those who wanted to enter by direct entry? That is GC advanced level. And they will still get some they describe it as foreign students coming from all over the world. Maybe they will reserve about 20. But what is important is that the bulk of the people they were admitting, as prestigious, as popular as that university was, and it still is, they were practicing that system. Some of them, I have to teach them English before they could even pass their GC ordinary level or their school certificate. They got admission that they didn't get.
Wow.
So this thing is being schemed. And unless you are very close, you will not know. Even if anybody is telling you, you say, how can you be thinking like that? This one is not possible. That is exactly what is happening. It's still happening today. Look at the north. You see Alimajiri. You see the number of not in the school, out of school thing. It's deliberate. Who will believe that? Because their children are going to the best universities all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you take any of these Fulani minister or general manager or anything, go and study the paper. It's even in most cases better than those of the Southerners. And these are the people that are saying some people should be carrying plates to be begging about. It's to get reserve army to do any wahala they want to do.
And that's true. I've been seeing a lot of things online about how most of these people that are going around begging, that they are actually probably there as part of an army that can later attack when they're activated, when they're told to do so.
That's exactly the way it is.
Well, sir, I have just 3 last questions for you. But before I go there, is there anything else you might want to say to people out there?
We first said almost everything. But if along the line there is anything that comes up again, maybe I can chip in.
Okay, sir. So my 3 final questions. My first one is, do you have a message for the young people of Nigeria?
The message will not be to them, because you have to be very, very fair to these young ones. They are living the way they see life. Like I said, my philosophy of when you come to the world, you come with a clean sheet of paper. And when you can write anything there, that's what you are going to be. It's not as if anything has been predestined for anybody. And if you don't write anything there, the environment will write it there for you. So the children, our youth, You can't blame them. You can't blame them because the pit they are finding themselves now have been dug for them centuries ago. Even their fathers don't know. But like I said earlier on, time will come. One single person is enough to turn the table. Let us put it that way. One single person. And if you are amongst them, power just by accident gets into your hands and they can't get you. Because they have been living the lie. And very easy to upturn lie anytime. So I have that hope. Somebody will come with a very strong write-up. Some will come, you will educate them, they will educate themselves that way, and they will compress that to point of action. You may be thinking that it will be too long, like I said earlier on. It may not be too long. That possibilities cannot be close up. Things will change. How is going to change? Even with them, the West, things are changing. They cannot control. Very difficult. I don't know what part of the world you are now. Very difficult to see their children, even passing GC. Very difficult to see one single one like this pass GC properly. What message does that one? Because just as they are telling lies to us, they are telling lies to their children too.
Yes.
How can the third generation of a man be taking welfare? You are destroying them. You want to tell me that they don't know? They know. But the cabals, what they want is what they want. And they don't care what they sacrifice in the process of getting that thing what they want.
Sir, from what you're saying, it seems like the cabal is not just against Africa, but even against their own nations.
That's true. Let me add this quickly. There are what we call indices of development. Take education, for example. It's not too obvious, but it's the background of any development any nation wants to get. If you look at education now, you will see that everything is on the downward trend. It's deliberate. Look at infrastructure. How can anybody tell me that the distance between Lagos and Ibadan, less than 150 kilometers, is taking 20 years to construct? You will see examples of all these things all over the place. I say 20 years, Lagos, Ibadan. Because anything that will bring development, they will deliberately slow it down until you even forget about it. From Lagos to Ibadan, it's less than 150 kilometers. And they have been at it for going to 20 years now. That's infrastructure. Look at some other developmental area. Electricity. Electricity. As we are talking now, we are on less than 3,000 megawatts. We are a country of population of 250 million should be needing about 60 to 100 megawatts. At my age of going to 90, I've been hearing of NEPA development, rearrangement, reconstruction for the past 50 years. Do you want to tell me that that is not deliberate? Look into other areas we can put as index of development. You will see that we don't see anything there because they know what can boost the economy. Look at the debt now, the issue of debt. The health of a country is how you manage the economy. As if the economy has been too good, they want to destroy it. By the time Buhari got to government, they were having about 12 trillion naira debt total. Before he left, it became almost 48, between 48 and 60 trillion. Now, as I'm talking to you, can anybody remind me what our total debt is now? Of course, more than 100 trillion. Now, that's the basic issue. It's through this debt, the West will now come and control us harder and more closely and more minutely. Anything you want to do, they will tell you you cannot do it because of your debt. You remember during the Babangida's, what did they call it? Sunday. This structural adjustment. They will now be asking you, do this, don't do this. Because of your debt, if you are not careful, we will do this, we will do this. It's for control. Even if our leaders did not go to school, shouldn't they realize that somebody, even before they ask, they are giving? At times they have received the money before they tell us. And we don't even know how much they have collected, they didn't tell us. Once they call it debt trap. Once we enter that trap, they now do us in whatever way they want to do us. It's like a tie rope in your neck and handing it over to another person to be dragging you about. Just those few examples. No matter what they say, those facts are there. They cannot say anything about it. And they don't want anybody to talk along that line.
Sir, I know you're not a religious person, but from everything you're saying, it almost sounds like this cabal, like there's some deeper satanic agenda behind it. Like there's some devilish idea behind everything that they're doing.
It's all devilish. Let us make it very clear. There can be no good in the agenda of the cabal. I didn't talk of the traditional rulers. The traditional rulers are in it. The traditional rulers, the traditional rulers are involved. Because without all what they are enjoying now is concession. As long as you don't oppose, as long as you don't make trouble, sit down on your empty throne. So even the best plan, you will not be surprised to see even the traditional rulers joining in opposing. How did they select their ministers or big top positions? They distribute. They give to strategic people strategically. Oba so nominate one minister. Kabiyesi so nominate one assistant minister to get the support of these institutions. And that's why whatever they do, today you hear a minister has packed 200 billion. You just hear it. Few days after, you don't hear anything about it again. Because it's rendering returns to the people who nominated him as a minister. There are so many things still underground. And we have gotten to a stage, even if you have all these things, what will anybody do? What will anybody do? And the corporate bodies are incorporated. All the big companies. Do you know that, have you heard of UAC before? UAC in Nigeria as a company. It's still there, leading company in Nigeria. That was the company that was ruling Nigeria before. As a
UAC that
private
makes
institution.
food. Don't they make food?
You say what?
UAC.
USC, yes.
I thought they made food or something.
They do what?
I thought they produced food. They produced something like food.
Is their beginning, I'm telling you now. They were the people who started making what could be called Nigeria. Right now, as I'm talking to you, their shares will still be in this USA you are seeing.
Wow.
You know? And after a while, they couldn't run it again. Imagine a company administering a country on behalf of the home country. That was what USA represented at the beginning. Now, when they couldn't do it again, they have to transfer to the Crown in UK. They now sold their interests or compensation in addition to shares they will still be having in that company. They have been so much entrenched. All these football clubs you are enjoying abroad is being enjoyed all over the world. Is this money they used to start all those things? Just to camouflage and deceive people.
The football clubs.
I'm telling you, Manchester, Chelsea, this, all of them started with this type of money they got in these arrangements.
Wow. And all Nigerian men will be buying their jerseys, supporting them, putting more money
They don't
back
want
in.
to ask their story. They don't want to ask their story. Something we should hate, we embrace, because we don't know. And ignorance is becoming thicker and thicker.
Yes.
Until we don't know how we are going to get a breakthrough. And that breakthrough is the one I think we should be expecting. How it's going to come, I cannot sit down here and tell you this is the way it's going to come. But this is what is happening.
Wow. Wow. So I just remembered two questions I really wanted to ask you that I had forgotten about.
Please go ahead.
During the oil boom, what was happening behind the scenes that the public never saw?
Now, from the time oil was first discovered, around 1956 or so, till now, Nigeria has never been in control of oil, the production, the industry as a whole. It's like the owners, like Shell. They just tell them this is what is available. So in that book, I say everything about that organization arrangement is opaque. Even when you call yourself president today, you don't know everything about that company, this industry of oil. It's their own. They are still doing it as they like. We have a refinery local, and it's finding it very difficult to get crude to operate because they have sold everything in advance. In fact, that area is no-go area. Nobody knows anything about it because it's their own project and it's boosting their economy. If any president shows more than ordinary interest, that president will be removed. Regime change, as they call it. What does he want to do? Don't go to that area at all. We are getting oil. They will say we are oil producing. But the books, none of our leaders could say they are in control. They will take whatever they like, and they will not even know exactly what is going on in all other places. It's very bad. Now, they will say, successive ministers, presidents, they will say, in addition to being the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, they are the minister of petroleum resources. Can you imagine? What are they doing with it? Because that area is so delicate, so important, so sensitive, that they can't afford to let anybody peep into it and come and spill the bean. or say something that's so that's what I can just say about the oil. It's a very serious matter. Look at the other minerals. Our people from the north, for years, they have been doing these minerals and pocketing the money. When, according to the constitution, the return should be to the federal purse. But who will ask them? Even as we are talking to, there is no control over mining now. Everything is just in a zigzag manner, because that's the main thing all of them are fighting for. If you want to interfere in oil, you will see noise immediately. You want to interfere in minerals, you will see people, and it's very cheap and easy for them to line up people to come and make noise.
From your experience, were military regimes purely internal, or were they external influences that were shaping them?
I can tell you straight away, because I was not only a full adult, educated adults and well-exposed adults. They were just picking all these soldiers. You do this, you organize this. They themselves did not know what they were doing. I'm telling you, they don't know. It's still the influence. When we got independence in 1960, October 1, then one constitution came out, little thin constitution, I think 1952 or so. That permitted a little bit of self-governance, a little bit of freedom to govern ourselves. The progress Nigeria made between 1955, when Awolowo was premier, Azikiwe was premier, Ahmadu Bello was premier, for good 10 years, only 10 years, all these Western people, they became panicky. In fact, Western region was giving loan to United Nations. They were doing all sorts of things in world arena. So these people now say, what is happening? That's how you start finding coup upon coup to stop them. It's just to stop that trajectory of the type of development that could have surpassed what all the West could boast of all their time within under 20 to 50 years. So what did they do? In 1963, they brought a republic. The republic. I think the Igbo people saw through the whole thing. Then Emeka Ojukwu just announced that he was no longer doing away with them again. That's why we had the Biafran War. And to do that, they know how to manipulate. They know how to manipulate the soldiers. That time, why it was very easy for the Igbo people, they were having 80% of the officers in the army. Because Yoruba did not join army. Up to now, they are so loath to army and police. It's not an area Yoruba people like. So the Igbo people were having 80% of the total cadre of army officers. So that what they use it for, the first coup. Then this big thing they never reckon with, the Fulani trying to own Nigeria. Yoruba principle is, we don't want to go to anywhere. We will not come to you, don't come to us. That's the ruling principle among the Yoruba till now. And that's why the other people, they are finding it a bit difficult to penetrate Yoruba. So all the coups is just to make things go their way. What we're experiencing in the public service now was caused by Murtala Mohammed. Because the stability of any administration is the civil service. But he came in and started sacking all of them with immediate effect. With immediate effect. He was sent to do that assignment. Now, If a minister doesn't ask you to write an appeal, you cannot write it. And you were talking about corruption before. That's the bastion of corruption. When you increase the power of politicians, the political office holders, at the expense of the civil servants, the ultimate thing is corruption. Right now, how many permanent secretary can say this is what the GO, they call it GO, general order. You cannot do this. It's what the minister says that you can do. You know, as a young man of about 30, less than 40, I was already in good employment. I was invited by one of the generals because they are always scouting to see who they can use for whatever. And the gentleman took me, it's in the book. The gentleman took me straight to his bedroom, a general in the army. Mr. Adebisi, we have heard about you. You are very intelligent. You are educated. Permit me to say this in Yoruba. A fẹ́ rán ẹ lọ sí Central Bank. Lọ síbẹ̀. Kó lọ máa kówó wá. We want to send you to Central Bank. Go and begin to bring the money. No matter what you bring, nobody will ask you. Things were as bad. But I happen to be a reader. Let me put it that way. I was amazed. How could somebody call me, say I should just go and begin to carry money from the Central Bank? From that day, the person who introduced me and the man himself, I never went back to the place. Occasionally, you come and stumble on the way they do things. So if I'm talking, it will be as if I'm from where did they hear all these things? What did they do? Because they are not. Again, did we talk anything about education more than what I've just said now? All these things I'm saying, search through, unless it's in the archives, a professor writes. You cannot read any book about all these things. Deliberately, they skim it like that. All these things I'm saying, not to talk of textbooks. And when such books, leaking out some of these things wanted to be streaming in, they ban it completely. They don't teach until very recently, maybe these last few years. They didn't allow history to be taught in Nigerian schools. Because even the youth we are talking about, none of them will read this and it will not give him one thought or the other. They didn't read history. They were the episode of from the slavery to the time we are talking now, everything was blackened out. Now they say history can now be introduced. Why should it be like that? It's a very, very strategic point I want you to note. Anybody to know. Why should you ban history? Because what connects everything together is history. Because you know you don't have a pleasant one. The past is not palatable. Brazenly, you ban it. That's the reason.
Sarah, and I think what you're saying even ties in with what's happening religiously in Nigeria right now. I think the reason people can use Christianity to control people is because the version of Christianity they're giving them is not the full thing. Like, I'm sure you know about all the books that were taken out of the Bible, which many people have not gone to go and read. Because when they read those books, they'll just realize how warped what they've been told for centuries now, how warped it is. Like, when I recently went to read the book of Maccabees, it shows you about people who are being oppressed, fighting back, rising up to fight back. And I think that's the reason they removed that from the Bible. Because if people read that, they would want to rise up, they would want to fight back for what is theirs.
Look, you made reference to, well, you might not be religious. I will tell you, I can hold my own if we start discussing Bible now, because I have a very deep root in it, if we take the whole of the Bible, the life and teaching of Jesus Christ, if you type it, it will not be more than one exercise book. They made all this thing up for themselves. And let me tell you another crucial thing. Jesus Christ himself was not a religious person. They just built in around him. As a young man of 12, he was following the mother to this religion of Judaism, to the synagogue. And he could see through that all these Sadducees and Pharisees with their long, long beards, what they are saying could not tally with what was happening. That was how, at the age of 33, he became so angry. And he carried some of his disciples and some other gangs to go and use stick to drive them out, say, you liars, you are liars. But the consequences, he didn't bargain for it. That was what led to his crucifixion. So, Jesus Christ, let me remind you again, any church now, any organization, they will ask you, come for deliverance, come for healing. Jesus Christ didn't do that. All what Jesus Christ did was out of compassion. And at a point, he was running away when people gathered, and he said, it's the truth I want to tell these people, but it's healing and deliverance they are looking for. Yes. Then he would decide to dodge them. He would just divert, I want to do Agbado, they have gathered themselves in Agbado. Then he will now decide to go to Kokomaiko. Before he got there, they would have gathered again. So Jesus Christ was not doing miracle or deliverance or anything to gather crowd. But what do you see today? Listen to loudspeakers. Come and get deliverance. Come and get healing. Come and get money. Come and get this. So they could not have said that it's Jesus Christ they were following. They wrote their own book and they are following what they wrote to deceive people. As simple as that. Try it. Take a copy of the Bible. Jesus Christ said this. Jesus Christ said this. Jesus Christ preached like this. Everything will not be more than an exercise book. All of that is, they just made it up. And is that one they have made up, they want people to be listening to. I have churches around me. The Bible is not like that. But that's what you hear them preaching in the churches. And the same thing on the other side, the Islamic this thing. If you are rich, it's God that asks you to be rich. What a way of killing initiative, individuality, and some other discretionary way of thinking. Yeah. If you are rich, it's Allah that wants you to be rich. If you are poor, don't quarrel with anybody. It's Allah. So this religion deliberately was their work. And the purpose is just to suppress people. If anybody is claiming any other purpose behind it, it's a lie. And they know, because at the highest level, they don't believe anything in the Bible. Even when you call them Pope. If you are a reader, the atrocity Roman Catholic Church did in the Middle Ages, if you just stumble at it, you read it, you'll be looking for anybody calling himself Roman Catholic about to kill. The havoc was so much, all in the name of religion. My interviewer said so much. Are you aware of them?
Oh, yes. I know the history of the Roman Catholic Church. I used to be a Catholic.
Sorry, I'm talking about.
I'm not Catholic
It's as
anymore.
bad as that. Nothing religious about the leaders, the hierarchies, the highest one. Nothing. It's just to keep the majority of people down to the level they will not do more than, like I was discussing with somebody of recent, 7 levels of consciousness. But the lowest one is consume. Just work and consume. And that's the level 95% of people are operating. So the idea of any religion at all is to keep people down at that level. At the highest level is to know that you are God yourself. Whatever you want, you can do. And by the time you get to the realization of that power, nothing appeals to you again. You don't want anything again. Because you will see the futility in whatever you want to achieve. It's as bad as this. Thank God my interviewer made reference to Igbo. In those days, there is something we call Arochukwu Juju. That Arochukwu Juju, they dug a long tunnel. People will be dragging themselves to that place for justice. Instead of justice, they are using that channel. You will go to the last point. They will sell you to slavery. Ask any Igbo person. They still fear it today. Whereas it's the seed that is at the bottom of it.
From everything you have seen you're an 89-year-old man. You've seen a lot. You've experienced a lot. In Nigeria, you've found out a lot of information that a lot of people right now don't know. What is the one truth you want every Nigerian to understand?
One truth I want everybody to realize from all this is that the world is full of lies at any level. And those using the lies to propel themselves to whatever position they desire, they are the master of the lies, trying to stop other people from telling lies. But that as it may be, whatever we may think, there is nobody who will live forever. But the more we know, the better things will be. Any arrangement that is not making people try to cut people off from knowledge, people should suspect. People should suspect. There can be nothing behind it than evil. And let me close it like this. I cannot claim to be a religious person. Rather, I want to be seen as an humanitarian. Humanity remains humanity. Anything you do against one single individual, a member of humanity, is an evil done to the entire humanity. And any good you can do from any angle, from any perspective, from any level, to any human being, be it your son, be it your daughter, or your friend, or anything, look at it beyond that level. It's the whole humanity you are doing it to. Because as they say, what goes around comes around. To say you are doing evil to one particular person is just as what that person you are doing it to is lack of education. That bad will stay, spread, and come and meet you. Instead of all these religions, people are talking of promoting, I'm a religious person, it's very religious, our mission is, if we can propagate that, humanity for humanity, in fact, even within 3 days, you start seeing differences. But the idea of racism is the idea of the cabal. This one is better. This tribe is more progressive. No. Just regard every human being as a member of humanity that you should worship. You should assist. You should help. Do anything you are capable of doing for. That way, even if you die tomorrow, you cannot lose. But trying to put schism, dividing, segregating, is one that is bringing all this evil we are seeing. And I thought you would ask this: what motivated me into writing this book?
Yes, that's
It was during the COVID-19. For the first time in my life, I found that I was just waking up, eating, and sleeping. And from the media, both print and electronics, from people you are discussing with, deliberately, sincerely, people keep on asking questions. Why are things like this? Why are things like this? I think that's consciousness level 2. You see that things are wrong, things that are happening, you are saying are not good. But there is something you can do about it. Then I now challenge myself. I say, wait a minute. Truly, why are things like this? Why will you call yourself a minister? You will carry all the money into your bedroom. You will open accounts all over the world. Even the road to your streets is impossible. That's what has led me to all these things that I put in that book. Unfortunately for me, I must give credit to this. If you mean to get information, information is available now than ever before. If I spent the entire life of my life in libraries, I wouldn't have gotten as much as 5% of what I've used in this book. Because information is available with little or no effort, I was able to dig deep into archives, into current writing, even to local commentaries. And with nothing to distract my attention, the day I could write a page, I will write. The day I could write for weeks, if I couldn't write anything, I would take it like that. And that's the story, and this is the outcome.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you giving us your time today. And I'm guessing your book, is it available? Where can people get it from?
It's on Amazon.com. Africa's Underdevelopment, Nigerian Predicament by Adeniyi A. Adebisi.
Thank you, sir. So we'll put a link to his book in the comment section, so you can click and you can get his book online on Amazon. So thank you so much for your time, sir. And
thank you very much.
This has been a very deep and thought-provoking conversation, which I'm sure our viewers can agree about. It'll make them think so much deeply about what's going on right now, how it started, and the way forward. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.